Hey there, everybody. Well, it's bright out today, but I'm going to keep the sunglasses off so we can have this personal connection. Big news this month, of course, is the shareholder vote for Elon's pay package. I know a lot of people want to talk about it. I don't mind talking about it. I don't really care one way or the other at this point, which I'll explain in a moment. But let's get into it. As part of my full disclosure, I do have shares in Tesla. I have shares in Rivian. I also have shares in NIO and Ford and Subaru. I think that's it. But having said that, I bought the shares in Tesla a long time ago. My average share cost is somewhere around $12 up until recently. So there really wasn't a downside or anything that I was concerned about as far as the longevity of the stock price or how high it went or anything like that. So I'm not kind of in the same boat as some of the true believers who are buying large amounts of stock well past $200, $300 a share. I remember seeing people online buying piles of stock at $350, and I was like, I don't know. Again, at $12 a share, I kind of don't care what happens to the company at this point. I really can't lose on it. And in fact, at this point, I can't lose, which I will explain in a moment. So let's talk about Elon's pay. First thing I think it's important to understand is that Elon's pay was determined by a board of directors that is very much in Elon's pocket. That includes his brother being on the board, among other things, even though his brother doesn't have anywhere near the demonstrated aptitude of running a business that Elon arguably may have. And if you look at the most recent additions to the board that are proposed, that kind of fall into where we would expect things to be with the way Elon's been talking on Twitter recently, in that they're trying to get Kimball back onto the board and Rupert Murdoch's son onto the board, which I think is an odd choice for a car company, even though he has experience being an executive level at other large companies. They were daddy's company, so not too much of a fan of that. Those are also no votes, by the way. But fundamentally, the pay that he received was based on the stock performance, and the performance of the stock at that time was based largely on things that Elon was promising, things that were coming, things that we were expecting. Most of those things haven't actually happened, unless you people are out there enjoying your Robotaxis and your Roadsters, and I'm the only one who doesn't know about it. And it also doesn't really take into account the fact that he's been actively destroying the brand for at least half the nation, as evidenced by his political rants and social arguments and culture wars and all of these things. This is not something that we expected from a CEO. So that has eroded the stock price. And now you talk about the layoffs and how he's been kind of piece by piece taking away the things that were supposed to be distinctives of Tesla, which was, factory direct service and the mobile service and the superchargers. Oh my gosh, the superchargers. Now he's not going to be doing superchargers as much. Right after all the other brands kind of signed on, pretty much everybody, except for Stellantis and whatever, some of the people. So when we look at where things are now versus where they were when the pay package was agreed to, and the lack of shareholder input when it was first laid out, because the board of directors is basically all of Elon's buddies and family members, I think that this is a great time to say no. And so I'm saying no. And I don't really care what he does at this point. He can stay or he can go. I would just as soon see him go, but that's a whole nother conversation. Now, I said I would say that I'd broken even and what that meant. Well, so I bought Tesla a long time ago, $12 a share is my average price going into it. That was, that's the current price. They've split, so that's what the price is after the split. I don't remember what the price was when I bought them. That last week the stock jumped up about $50 a share, and I have some concerns that might be a dead cat bounce given the amount of layoffs in all the different departments. So I sold off enough shares to cover my initial investment and double it, and then a little bit extra. So at this point, I can't lose on the stock, even though the majority of the shares I still have, because I didn't have to sell that many, frankly, because I really hadn't invested very much. And I've really not let least I don't think I've let my stock position indicate anything about how I regard the company or its products or anything like that. Even though I do have a fairly large financial stake at this point, even though, like, I can't lose money, but there's a lot of unrealized gains there that I would certainly like to see more of. I don't know. My timeline is so far, it doesn't really matter to me too much. So, I am still a Tesla stockholder and Rivian and all the other companies. But hopefully you see that this is a fairly objective take that I have on Tesla and everything that I do in these videos. Unlike some of the true believers, I guess. So, what else do I have to say about that? I like to make more money. So my concern is that this is a dead cat bounce. So when it hit up to 185 or so, I sold a few shares to cover that. And my concern is that, he laid off a lot of people in research and development. He laid off supercharger folks. I don't know that there's any new product in the pipeline. I don't have a lot of confidence in this event that's coming up in August. And so we'll see. And fundamentally, we'll see. But I figured I would take enough out now that everything is gravy at this point, because I've cleared my initial investment, doubled my money and a little bit extra, and I can put that money to use in companies where the CEOs aren't like complete lunatics. I'm just not sure what happened to Elon recently. This is what it is. All right, so that's that. Now, what do I expect for the August 8th event? Let's talk Robotaxi. I think it's going to be right after Elon obviously gets the vote. I think the vote will probably go his way. I think he'll probably get his pay. I don't think he'll get a message from the vote being close or anything like that. I don't think that he has that kind of insight or feedback loop, as he likes to say. And so I suspect that the Elon we will see at the August 8th event will be kind of a cocksure, full of bravado Elon of old, and I don't mean that in a flattering way. I mean that in the nutcase way that we've been seeing recently. I love when people get in the wrong lane and then try to get in my lane. You could have just been in the correct lane. Anyway, so I think that the thing to remember about Tesla stock is that there is a very large number of fanboys and true believers, and they keep the stock price up very high regardless of what Elon does. And the detractors just aren't as determined as the fanboys are to keep the stock price high. So I think Elon knows that. I think the vote will go his way, and I think he'll come in with some kind of smoke and mirrors and talk about all this crazy stuff that they're going to do with Robotaxi, but they don't have the bandwidth now to produce it. They don't have the research and development. They laid off the drive unit folks. They've laid off the superchargers. Any engineer worth their salt is not going to work for this company anymore because it's so volatile. So they're going to be getting not the first choice or most experienced engineers anymore. They're going to kind of get the lower tier engineers. All the people that have learned all the good stuff are going to go to the competition. That includes the supercharger team. So will the stock bounce after the August 8th event? It might. Does it matter? No, I think it's coming back down. I just don't think there's anything there of substance. I don't think we'll see anything of substance come out of that. And that just is what it is. And that's why I sold to cover my initial investment. I really hope that we see a turnaround with Tesla, not just the stock price, but with the company. I don't know that we will, not anytime soon. I think the slide is going to continue. Again, there's no new product in the pipeline. Even if they did introduce a Model 2, there's no signs that they could build it even if they wanted to. They certainly can't develop it on a shoestring budget and have it be any good. Cybertruck's not going to be the sales success that everybody was trying to say that it might be. I don't see semi in wide production. And those of you who still think you're getting your Roadsters, I don't know what the polite way is to say it, but I believe the kids these days just use the LOL or the laughing emoji. Yeah, I don't think we're seeing that either. So, why should Elon get paid? Those are all things he was supposed to do. Those are all things he's supposed to have already done and didn't do. So I believe the stock price was inflated to get him to meet those tranches, to earn him that money, But if it's all based on vaporware, then he didn't really earn it. So I'm a no vote till I start seeing something. And now we're stuck in traffic. Anyway, that's where I am on the company. I don't see much new coming. I just don't. And I wish us all luck. In the meantime, still driving the old girl, still happy with it, still trying to sell my arachnids. Anybody want some 21-inch wheels? Don't make me buy tires for these wheels, please. All right. See you next time. Thanks for watching.